Okay. All right. So really, at this point in the seminar, so I know we're just at session 3, but you could be in any one of a number of places. All right. So you may find yourself naturally expressing freedom, power, and self-expression. So you might find yourself there, or you may already have had extraordinary breakthroughs in areas of life that are important to you. So if you're in that place, raise your hand to acknowledge that. Okay. Or you may see movement in some areas, but in other areas, things actually seem worse. So raise your hand if you're in that place. You know, you might be in more than one category, by the way. These aren't mutually exclusive. You may be extremely confronted and uncomfortable. You might be upset. You might be confused. What, if anything, is actually happening for you in the seminar? So if you're in that space, raise your hand. Like, well, I don't even know what the heck is going on here. Okay, I got that. So here's the thing to get. All right, so you ready? Wherever you are is fine, and it's exactly where you should be to get the most out of the seminar. So really, wherever you are is fine. So you want to let that in and let that sink in. There's no way there's no place you're supposed to be. So if you're here like you're waiting to get somewhere, right, or you haven't gotten there yet, there's nowhere to get. Wherever you are is perfectly fine. And why I say that is, whatever's coming up for you, even if it's boredom, even if it's you're confronted, even if it's confusion, the seminar is driving up the right things. So you want to just give yourself the space to be exactly where you are and to not add meaning to it. You're experiencing what you're experiencing. The only thing that will take you out of the game is if you make that mean something, or if you make that wrong. There really is no place you're supposed to be. You're in the perfect place wherever you are. And and I say that with years of experience behind me. So we already said that integrity at a basic level is doing what you said when you said you would do it. So real integrity is not just talking the talk, but walking the talk, even when you don't feel like it or it's not convenient. So for how many of you tonight, you really did not feel like it, or it really was not convenient for you to be here? And you're here. So that's a big deal. Because that's called walking the talk. That's being here in the face of whatever your experience is, but honoring your word anyway. That's the whole game. Like, your word is what's carrying the day. So acknowledge yourself for being here, even if that was the case, all right? Now, go ahead, acknowledge yourself. And that's part of participating in the seminar is to powerfully manage your word over time. That's why the seminar takes place over a 3-month period. If it was, you can do it for 3 days. You did it in a forum. You already know you can. And for that, 3 days was like, oh my God, I don't think I'm going to make 3 days. But you did that, and that was a big deal. Okay, so now you got 3 months, and you're about to have a pretty big challenge. Does anybody know what the challenge is?
We have the rest of the week month off.
We're going to go 2 weeks.
We don't have a session for the next 2 weeks. Now, some of you are elated about that. But here's the deal. It's really going to take something for you to keep the seminar in existence. And you've got your group structure, so that's one structure. But you're going to have to work to keep this in existence over the next couple weeks. But you doing that, bless you. You doing that and being back at session 4 just adds that much more power to your word. Okay, so you want to push through wherever you are. All right, and then I have had this doesn't always happen, but I've led to hundreds of people, right? And a lot of people have been in more than one seminar with me. I don't always hear, so I'll know what's happening for people during the seminar. I don't always hear what happened after the seminar ended. And for whatever reason, I had recently I've had 2 graduates call me who were in the integrity seminar, 2 different integrity seminars, as it turns out. So the first one called me a couple months ago. Arturo, are you in this conversation?
I am not.
Okay, so I see that's part of it, right? Because then you'll walk out of here and you'll say, I got nothing from the seminar. And how could you if you weren't here?
No, it's okay. I wasn't going to say that, but you're right about that.
Yeah, so I request you raise your intentionality. For sure, you won't get anything if you're not actually present, guaranteed. and then you'll walk out of here. I'm not just talking to you, right?
I
So
got
I'll take this like
I'm not
you,
taking it
but thank you for opening up the space. Because then you'll walk out and you'll say, I didn't get anything from that seminar. So the my promise to you, if you push through wherever you are, you're confronted. If you're not confronted now, you probably will be at some point in the seminar. But if you push through that, my promise to you is that you will have results that last for the rest of your lifetime. So I had this graduate called me about a month or so ago and leaves me this voice message, and she said, "Hey, Dave, I was just thinking about you, and I want you to know that there is not a day that doesn't go by that I don't use that integrity seminar. There isn't a day that goes by." And she was not somebody who was in here every week like, "Woo, I love the seminar." She was in here confronted, dealing with her, like putting it on loudspeaker, and she's like, I use this every day. It has made such an enormous difference in my life, and I wanted you to know that. And then the other person called me today, actually on my way here, and this is so great. I don't think I've ever gotten a call like this. So she was in the seminar a year ago. It finished last March. She called me up and said, "Hey, I want you to know that how I participated in my integrity seminar really didn't work. And what I've discovered is that integrity really matters to me. And so it was important for me to call you up and clean up that I did not participate in the seminar the way that I said I would do that." And and she's gone on and she has since completed the curriculum for living. She did the advanced course. She did the self-expression leadership program. She wants to lead the self-expression leadership program at some point. And it got me connected to that our work is long-reaching. It's not just for a seminar, it's for a lifetime. And it got me connected to each one of you. And I know a lot of you, we haven't necessarily talked one-on-one. Most of you haven't talked one-on-one. Our only interaction may have been together in the seminar. But even though that's the case, and whether you ever take this on or not is irrelevant, every single one of you is the possibility of leading this work. Every single one of you is the possibility of being a forum leader. Like, really. So if you ever had an inkling that that's what you wanted to do, you're that possibility. And I listen to you that way. You're the, where do you go? Really, Kipling, you are the person who is the possibility of transforming your company. You really are that for me. And you'll never be anything less than that. Okay, so your being here is a big deal, even though you might not always experience it that way. Because you're the ones who are going to have it happen. That's how I listen to you. So to get an acknowledgement come back to me like that, it's like, yeah, I got my job done. And then she went on and she completed the curriculum, which is why I stand for every single one of you to complete the curriculum. That will give you a power beyond, you won't recognize yourself. You'll walk out of that self-expression leadership program and you'll look back just like, this woman looks back a year ago and she's like, oh my gosh, I don't even know how you interacted with me. I was, anyway, so I wanted to be clear how I listen to you. And so if I interact with you in a particular way, Arturo, you're the possibility of leading the Landmark Forum. And even if you never do that, you're this extraordinary phenomenon on the planet that can impact every single person you interact with. And I won't listen to you and let you listen to yourself as anything less than that. Okay?
Yep.
All right, so anything about that for anybody? What did you get from that for yourself? Or what do you hear in that for yourself? Yeah, Carlos?
If you don't mind me, kind of stand up.
Yeah.
So the second conversation that you had was shared with me because of the person, what they mean to me.
Yeah.
And it just showed me.
It was Carlos' girlfriend.
Yeah. It was my girlfriend.
Yeah.
I had a conversation with her. Just the transformation in her from last year till the first time I registered for a Landmark Forum was just amazing, and it's what kind of pushed me over to actually doing the forum. But just seeing how a person can come back that far removed from the program and admit that, hey, something was missing and I need to get it right. So we had this conversation based on the conversation that we had, you and I had last night, And the first thing she said was, after I told her the conversation, she said, I need to get that right with David. I just need to get something right with David. And it was just eating at her. And the fact that you can humble yourself enough to say, not necessarily I was wrong, there's no right or wrong, but I need to make sure it's right so that I restore integrity. In that situation, in that length of time that I really was kind of checked out, it just really emphasized to me to really continue to try to live as much as integrity as possible. And that you're right, anyone can lead these programs. We all have the ability, we all have the experience, we all have the intellect to do it. And it's just a matter of if you want to, just do it. And maybe it's not here, maybe it's somewhere else. But it just meant a lot to me that she would go through that, even though you might not even thought about it.
Yeah.
Right? But she thought it was big enough that she went back to you to restore that.
Yeah. Yeah, and it was big. Yeah, thank you, Carlos. So now it's Carlos. Yeah.
I just wanted to share what I got from what you said to Arturo.
Yeah.
Was what I got from it was that like we're so focused on creating possibilities for ourselves, but it's also really important to see the possibilities in other people. And what you said, Arturo, really like moved me. Like at work and when interacting with people, you interact with them differently when you see possibilities in them. So
Totally.
Thank you for that.
Yeah, that's a really big thing to get, Daniel, because your listening of people is again, make or break. You know, you actually can choose and create how you listen to people, and you can listen to them gigantic, or you can listen to them really small. And if you listen, guess how they're going to show up? They're going to show up exactly consistent with however you listen to them. And you'll find evidence either way. But I actually don't need any evidence, you know, because it's what I've created, and it's my word to listen to you that way. So thanks for getting that. Okay, great. All right, so all that being said, so we're going to complete on the integrity of doing the assignment, okay? And oh, by the way, don't forget, I sat in your seat. I hated my first seminar leader. Hated him. Hated him. I don't even know if I completed the seminar. I maybe went to 6 sessions. All right, so listen, I know what it takes to sit in a seminar. I've been in your seat. So give yourself some space and some compassion. You know? All right, great. So we're going to complete the integrity of the assignment. So if you kept your word, you did the assignment, please raise your hand to acknowledge that. Okay, thank you. And if you did not do the assignment, please raise your hand to acknowledge that to begin to complete your word. Okay, great. Thank you. I got that. You know, again, there's no workability in not doing the assignments in the integrity seminar. You have no foundation on which for the seminar to actually go to work in your life. All right, so I request that you first fully participate in the seminar. Don't use that to take yourself off the hook, and remake your promise. All right. So, and if you find yourself struggling with that, you might not have an effective structure. So put whatever structure in place that's going to support you doing your assignment. Put it in your calendar. Set a reminder. Ask a buddy in your group to check in on you. Whatever it's going to take to support you in you keeping your word. All right, so who will read the intentions that are on the board?